Good Wednesday morning to you. I hope you're doing great today. My name's Kathy. If you're new here, I'm Kathy. I'm an artist, and every morning I come on and we do a bio read from Wikipedia and then a piece of homage art to an existing to a deceased commercial artist of the 19th century. So we learn about the 1800s, and we learn about history, and we learn about art and all kinds of stuff. So it's cool. The reason I'm looking around is because I need to grab my phone over there, because I don't keep maybe I should actually. I was gonna say I don't usually keep like a YouTube. Maybe I'm going to try that today. I'm going to try it today. I'm going to put on my YouTube live control panel. Let's see. Because I don't usually do it. I don't usually do it on my... I don't usually do it on my desktop. I usually have like my phone here. And yeah. That's what I usually do. So... hold on one second, and I'm just going to see what's going on here. Focus on your live stream and let YouTube insert ads for you. Go for it, but I want to see chat. Hold on. Look at my doc. Chat. Come on, chat. I bet I'm the only one here right now. And you know, that's totally okay, because the replay is here for you if you ever want it, when you want it, and however you want it. Awesome. Okay, cool. I'm going to try this out. Not have to look at my phone all the time. So today we're doing Henry Ossawa Tanner. And I really prepared for this because okay. The stream I just had went away. Okay, I'm going to put this host. Sorry for the meta interjecting here. I'm just going to put this over here. Where's my chat? Yeah, I really prepared for this one. I still did not read the entire Wikipedia all the way through. It's kind of going to be a cold read. I've skimmed it. I haven't read it like full on, so you'll get full reaction and commentary as per usual. But yeah, that's the deal. So give me 1 second. Thank you very much. I gotta actually put my chat on my other window because there we go. Okay. this whole chat on my screen is a new thing for me, so please forgive me for the, there we go. Okay. All right. Let's do this. Oh, let me have a sip of my coffee first. Hold on. Is it too hot? It might be. Okay. We're going in. Henry, cheers to you. I have some of his artwork in the corner here, interspersed with some pictures of his family and of him. And there's a few quotes in there too. So the art that we do today is going to be a little bit different, which is fine. I mean, it can be whatever it is. That's how I do the homage art to the artist. It can be my replica copy, my style of something that they already have, or it can be a portrait, or it can be anything. It can be anything that's an homage to them. So today, and I decided this like in advance, which is kind of like unusual. I decided I wanted to do a portrait of Henry and then have one of his quotes around him. So that's what I'm going to do today, and I'm really excited about it. So let's go right in. There's no reason to wait. Hey, Megan, welcome. Good Wednesday morning to you. Cheers. Let's do this. All right, Henry Ossawa Tanner. June 21, 1859. Was he a Cancer? I'm a Cancer, so... because I feel a strange you know, like beep, 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 mind meld with him. I feel a kinship. I feel a kinship. And he died in the year my mother was born, too. So, June 21, 1859 was when he was born. May 25th, 1937 is when he died. He was an American artist who spent much of his career in France. He became the first African-American painter to gain international acclaim. Tanner moved to Paris, France in 1891 to study at the Académie Julian and gained acclaim in French artistic circles. In 1923, the French government elected Tanner Chevalier of the Legion of Honor. The Legion of Honor is something we're going to look at real quick. The National Order of the Legion of Honor, formerly the Imperial Order of the Legion of Honor, is the highest and most prestigious French national order of merit, both military and civil. So they can give it to civilians, they can give it to military, they give it to whoever they feel has earned it. It consists of 5 classes. Let's click into it real quick. I just want to show you. There's 5 classes. I looked at this. So I do have a little bit of information on it here. It looks like there's more than 5 classes there, but there's, what is it? Here we go. There's Chevalier, Officier, Commander, Grand Officer, and Grand Croix. Yeah, okay. That's all we're gonna do. That's all we're doing right now on that, but he got it, so he got the Legion of Honor Chevalier. Henry Ossawa Tanner, his early life. He was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. His father, Benjamin Tucker Tanner, became a bishop in the African Methodist Episcopal Church, AME, the first independent black denomination in the United States. He was educated at Avery College. Let's look at Avery College real quick. Avery College was a private school for African American students from 1849 until 1873 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It was initially founded as an industrial school and AME church, and later transitioned into a school for classical education. Okay. So that's where his dad was educated. My trackpad got a little water on it, sorry. Or maybe it was coffee. There we go. Back. We're back. Okay. He was educated at Avery College and Western Theological Seminary in Pittsburgh and developed a literary career. In addition, he was a political activist, supporting abolition of slavery. Henry Tanner's mother, Sarah Elizabeth Tanner, may have been born into slavery in Virginia. 2 different stories have emerged considering her living in freedom. In one, her father drives the family from Winchester, Virginia, to the Free State of Pennsylvania in an ox cart. In the other, she escapes as a refugee to the north via the Underground Railroad. There, she met and married Benjamin Tucker Tanner. Tanner was the first of 9 children, and 2 of his brothers, Benjamin and Horace, died in infancy. One of his sisters, Hallie Tanner Dillon Johnson, was the first woman to be certified to practice medicine in Alabama. His parents gave him a middle name that commemorated the struggle at Osawatomie between pro and anti-slavery partisans. I'm going to read Osawatomie here. Osawatomie, the Battle of Osawatomie was an armed engagement that occurred on August 30, 1856, when 250 to 400 pro-slavery border ruffians, led by John W. Reed, attacked the town of Osawatomie, Kansas, which had been settled largely by anti-slavery free staters. I'm clicking into this, sorry. we gotta read a little more about this. Reed was intent on destroying the Free State settlement and then moving on to Topeka and Lawrence to do more of the same. Abolitionist John Brown first learned of the raiders when they shot his son Frederick. There's John Brown. Thanks, John Brown. Okay. With just 40 or so men, Brown tried to defend the town against the pro-slavery partisans, but ultimately was forced to withdraw. 5 Free Staters were killed in the battle, and the town of Osawatomie was subsequently looted and burned by Reed's men. The battle was one of a series of violent clashes between abolitionists and pro-slavery partisans in Kansas and Missouri during the Bleeding Kansas era. That's wild. Okay. I didn't learn this in school. Bleeding Kansas, Bloody Kansas, or the Border War was a series of violent civil confrontations in the Kansas Territory and to a lesser extent in western Missouri between 1854 and 1859. It emerged from a political and ideological debate over the legality of slavery. Okay. Okay. We are going deep. We're going deep, and that's all I'm reading on that. But, I mean, how many things do we have to look up after this stream now? Like 5? I want to learn about every one of those things some more. Okay. And we've just only begun here. So, let's see. The family moved from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia when Tanner was a teenager. There, his father became a friend of Frederick Douglass. We know who Frederick Douglass is. He was an American social reformer, abolitionist, orator, writer, and statesman. He was the most important leader of the movement for African American civil rights in the 19th century. And he was the guy who stood up for Annie Walker to get into Corcoran School of Art when they disallowed her to join to be in their school. And she went to Cooper Union because they were like, come on over here. After she, of course she went there and brought her stuff. Thank you for the hearts, Megan. Was it Megan? I think it was Megan. Thanks, Megan. Thanks, Megan. Okay. Cut that out of the corner of my eye. All right. Do this again. Okay. There, his father became a friend of Frederick Douglass, sometimes supporting him. I love this part. Sometimes supporting him, sometimes criticizing. That's a good friend, right? You don't always have to agree on some things, You really don't. You can have conversations and talk things out. Robert Douglass Jr., no relation. I looked it up. A successful black artist in Philadelphia. I told you I prepared. Oh, but wait, I'm sure there'll be lots of stuff I don't know about, but I did prepare. Robert Douglass Jr., a successful black artist in Philadelphia, was an early neighbor of the Tanner family, and Tanner wrote that he used to pass and always stopped to look at his pictures in the window. So he all right, Megan. Cheers. So Robert Douglass Jr., neighborly, inspired Tanner. And then when Tanner was about 13 years old, he saw a landscape painter working in Fairmount Park where he was walking with his father. He decided that he wanted to be a painter. That was when he decided he wanted to be a painter. And I have a great quote of his that I'm going to share with you right now. Hold on. I gotta open my window. Viewfinder window. Hold on. Hang with me. I got a good quote. It may actually come up on the screen, but where's my, maybe it was on my desktop. Screenshots, yeah, okay. So, I decided on the spot that I would be an artist, and I assure you, it was no ordinary artist I had in mind. I love that. That might be the quote that I put around him on the quote that I do, on the portrait I do of him. Okay, let's go back. Okay, it was there. He decided he wanted to be a painter when he was 13, when he walked by the landscape painter. Education. Although many white artists refused to accept African American apprentice, many white artists refused to accept an African American apprentice. Probably most in the United States at that time. Especially maybe, I mean, probably anywhere. I'm trying to think. I'm still learning. I'm always learning. Yeah, that's all I'll say on that. I'm gonna, I can't comment on this part because I don't know, but I'm learning. In 1879, Tanner enrolled at the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts in Philadelphia, becoming the only black student. His decision to attend the school came at a time when art academies increasingly focused on study from live models rather than plaster casts. Thomas Eakins, let's look at him. Here's Thomas Eakins, very important guy in Tanner's life. A professor at the Pennsylvania Academy, was one of the first American artists to promote new approaches to artistic education, including increased study from live models, discussion of anatomy in classes discussion of anatomy in classes of both male and female students. Okay, this was wild back then. And dissections of cadavers to teach anatomy. So this is all like very forward. Women were not allowed usually to draw from live models at this time. Figure drawing. Naked. The young artist was one of Eakins' favorite students. 2 decades after Tanner left the academy, Eakins painted his portrait. His portrait is on the slideshow. The portrait of Tanner by Eakins is in the slideshow. So just look for it. At the academy, Tanner befriended artists with whom he kept in contact throughout the rest of his life. Most notably, Robert Henry, one of the founders. It might be Henri. It probably is if he's American. Okay, maybe it's not. Robert Henry was an American painter and teacher. One of the founders of the Ashcan School. Okay, here's another thing that's really great to look up. First of all, let's go to Robert Henry real quick. Here's Robert Henry. Here he is, June 24, 1865 to 1929, July. He was an American painter and teacher, studied in Paris, where he identified strongly with the Impressionists and determined to lead an even more dramatic revolt against American academic art as reflected by the conservative National Academy of Design. He's somebody to look into. But I want to share this like whole ash can. What does it call it? Trash can? It's Ashcan School. He pioneered the Ashcan School of American Realism, depicting urban life in an uncompromisingly brutalist style. I love this. I had not heard of this before. I don't know, like, what did they teach me in school? Do I not retain things? How did I not know about this? I mean, I don't always retain things, actually, but it's pretty amazing. America's first large-scale introduction, depicting... Okay, sorry. I'm going to read a little bit more about this. He pioneered the Ashcan School of American Realism, depicting urban life in an uncompromisingly brutalist style. By the time of the Armory Show, America's first large-scale introduction to European modernism in 1913, Henry was mindful that his own representational technique was being made to look dated by new movements such as Cubism, though he was still ready to champion avant-garde painters such as Henri Matisse and Max Weber, or Weber. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. In 1929, Henry was named as one of the top 3 living American artists by the Arts Council of New York. Okay, let's go back. Okay. During a relatively short... So now we know what the Ashcan School is, and we know how Robert Henry, because I think he's going to come up later. So it's good to just, like, have that knowledge, you know? When you say live, do you mean like... Oh, I'm saying what Megan is asking. When you say live, do you mean like in the present live or live as in living? I'm not sure the context because when I say live, do I mean like the present live? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the context was in which I said in which I said live. I'm sorry. I'd have to know what was surrounding the word in order to accurately answer that one. All right, let's move on. And then if you type it in there, then I will be able to answer. Okay. During a relatively short time at the academy, Tanner developed a thorough knowledge of anatomy and the skill to express his understanding of the weight and structure of the human figure on the canvas. I think he was like a figure genius, like a figure drawing genius, is what I think. Whenever I read that sentence, I read it last night too. I remember looking at it and reading it and like absorbing that Eakins taught him, and all the thing, like Eakins' beliefs and how he taught, and like just rolling that around made me think he was like laser. He knew the figure. Tanner's artistic studies were disrupted by illness, which was reported in November 1881 and said to have persisted into the following summer, when Tanner spent time recovering in the Adirondack Mountains. This is murky to me because they don't say anything about what kind of illness it was or he's had, because I've seen in different places like he was ill throughout his life here and there, like kind of sickly or, like chronically. And I don't know. The context was about women not being allowed to draw from models. Yes, I meant live models, live nude model, nude, naked, the figure, like figure drawing with no clothes on figure drawing. They wouldn't let women do figure drawing in the schools of the time. I think I learned that when I was reading Annie Walker last week, because she was a contemporary, but a lot younger than, I think. A lot younger. They both, okay, we're going to get to it. I'm jumping ahead. They both showed at the Paris Salon, which was like the huge, big juried show in Paris. And he was like a premier painter there. Like he was one of the names, and she had like just gotten in. Like she was still in school at Cooper Union, and they had let her, I think she was at Cooper Union, or was that, no, wait a minute. Okay, I'm confused. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. In her studies, she applied. I think she may have applied when she was at Cooper Union. I forget. But then she also studied in France. Anyway, I'm confusing things here. Anyway, she showed as like as a student or just past being a student, and he was already like an established painter at the time. But they both showed at the Paris Salon at the time. And when we were learning about her schooling, they said women were not allowed to draw from live models. And I think like in school, and I take that because, lots of figure drawing, most of figure drawing in school for me was nude, naked, nude, whatever, not wearing clothes. So that's what I take it to know, because of course they could do portraits and stuff. So of course they could do people like with clothes on, but I took that to mean that they couldn't do nude models. And I think that's what it means. Women had to draw from sculptures. It was really, anyway. Okay. All right. Back. Okay. So yeah, I have like all these little like sparks going off in my head, and they're all kind of confused. So I'm getting there. I'm working on it. Okay. Let's go. I would have to go back to Annie's to get my story straight, but okay. Tanner's artistic studies were disrupted by illness, which was reported in November 1881 and said to have persisted into the following summer, when Tanner spent time recovering in the Adirondack Mountains. Okay, 50. Okay, so he was 22 years old when he was not well. And yeah, no more information is given, so we don't know. We don't know why he was sick, what he was sick with, and where was I? Here we are. Okay, Tanner's teachers included Thomas Eakins, American Realism Photography, Thomas Hovenden, American Realism, Benjamin Constant, Orientalist Paintings and Portraits, French academic, French academic, so those two kinds, and Jean-Paul Laurens, History Painting and French academic. Painting style. Tanner painted landscapes, religious subjects, and scenes of daily life in a realistic style that echoed that of Eakins, while works like The Banjo Lesson depicted everyday scenes of African American life. Tanner later painted religious subjects. It is likely that Tanner's father... Okay, this is really important stuff, because Tanner's father, and they might actually say this here, I'm not sure, it was something else. They're not... Wikipedia isn't like really like hitting the point home that he grew up in a family that did not... His parents did not encourage his painting at all. And he was going to be a minister. Like, that was what he was going to do. They were super religious, and he was going to be a minister like his father. And so the whole painting thing was kind of like a record scratch for them. You know what I mean? Okay, on with the show. While works like The Banjo Lesson depicted everyday scenes of African American life, Tanner later painted religious subjects. It is likely that Tanner's father, a minister in the African Methodist Episcopal Church, was a formative influence for him. To put it mildly, Tanner was not limited to one specific approach to painting and drawing. His works reflect, at times, meticulous attention to detail and loose, expressive brushstrokes in others. I do find that about his work. It's wild how he can be so expressive and yet also have just the little parts that are so important to like glow or to be seen or to speak to the viewer, that he is able to pull out like these super details. It's cool. In some of these paintings you can see it, obviously, but yeah, that's what I notice about his paintings too. And loose expressive brushstrokes in others. Often both methods are employed simultaneously. Tanner, it's kind of like his calling card, you know? Tanner was also interested in the effects that color could have in a painting. Warmer compositions such as the Resurrection of Lazarus and the Annunciation. The Annunciation is the lady sitting on the bed, and it's very Caravaggio-ish, like lighting. Like the lighting is very warm and like there's darks, and it's very... I mean, it's a little bit brighter than a Caravaggio painting, but it's like glow. He has that glow, you know, like a dark and then a glow, a little glowy area that he wants to highlight, or he tells a story with that, you know? Okay, I'm going to stop interjecting here. Okay. And the Annunciation, 1898, expressed the intensity and fire of religious moments and the elation of transcendence between the divine and humanity. Other paintings emphasized cool hues, which became dominant in his work after the mid-1890s. A palette of indigo and turquoise, referred to as the Tanner Blues. Oh, I didn't know this. Characterizes work such as The Three Marys, 1910, Gateway, 1912, and The Arch, 1919. Works such as The Good Shepherd, 1903, and The Return of the Holy Woman, 1904, evoke a feeling of somber religiosity and introspection. Tanner often experimented with light in his works, which at times add symbolist meaning. which at times adds symbolic meaning. The Annunciation, 1898, for example, the Archangel Gabriel is represented as a column of light that forms, together with a shelf in the upper left corner, a cross. This is it. The Annunciation right there. I mean, you can feel his faith in his paintings. Issues of racism. Although Tanner, and look, we've gone through half the page and we haven't talked about this. This is Wikipedia for you, and I love you, Wikipedia. I do love you, Wikipedia, but we need to supplement today because we have a couple of other pages that I just want to show you and maybe read a tiny bit from, or maybe not a tiny bit, maybe a little more than a tiny bit, I don't know. But that give more roundness to this story, you know, like that kind of fill it out a little bit. Although Tanner gained confidence as an artist and began to sell his work, he faced racism working as a professional artist in Philadelphia. In his autobiography, The Story of an Artist's Life, Tanner described the burden of racism. I was extremely timid and to be made to feel that I was not wanted, although in a place where I had every right to be. Even months afterwards caused me sometimes weeks of pain. Every time any one of these disagreeable incidents came into my mind, my heart sank, and I was anew tortured by the thought of what I had endured, almost as much as the incident itself. So he had PTSD. You know. In the hope of earning enough money to travel to Europe, Tanner operated a photography studio in Atlanta during the late 1880s. The venture was unsuccessful. During this period, Tanner met Bishop Joseph Crane Hartzell, a trustee of Clark College, now Clark Atlanta University. Let's roll it over here. It's a private Methodist historically black research university in Atlanta, Georgia. Founded in 1865 as Atlanta University. Okay. Hartzell and his wife befriended Tanner. Wait, let's reread that. During this period, Tanner met Bishop Joseph Crane Hartzell, a trustee of Clark College, now Clark Atlanta University. Hartzell and his wife befriended Tanner, became his patrons, and recommended him for a teaching job at the college. Oh. I'm going to move my... I'll do that. Okay. That's better. That's better. I just realized that in my head is like... I'm like, what's the point of having my camera here if my head's like all the way over here? Okay. Hartzell, and I'm going to read that again now. Sorry. Hartzell and his wife befriended Tanner, became his patrons, and recommended him for a teaching job at the college. Tanner taught drawing at Clark College for a short period. 1891. Tanner set out for Rome by way of Liverpool and Paris on a ship, City of Chester, on 4th of January, 1891. One sec. We're going to scroll back. We're in 1891. 1859. Okay, so he's 32. At age 32, Tanner set out for Rome by way of Liverpool and Paris on the ship City of Chester on 4 January 1891. He found Paris to his liking and discovered the Académie Julienne, where he began his studies in France. Let's look at the Académie Julienne because it's important. The Académie Julienne was a private art school for painting and sculpture founded in Paris, France in 1867 by French painter and teacher Rodolphe Julienne, 1839 to 1907. The school was active from 1868 through 1968. It remained famous for the number and quality of artists who attended. Okay. So it has a really good reputation. It's a private school led by a painter that's well respected, and where he began his studies in France. He also joined the American Art Students Club. Paris was a welcome escape for Tanner. Within French art circles, race mattered little. Tanner discovered the Paris Salon and set a goal to get his artwork accepted. Okay. The banjo lesson. On a return visit to the United States in 1893, so he's in Paris, and he's returned to the United States, Tanner presented The American Negro in Art, an essay, at the World's Congress on Africa in Chicago, and painted the banjo lesson, one of his most recognized works that began a series of sketches of black people living in Appalachia. The painting shows an elderly black man teaching a boy, assumed to be his grandson, how to play the banjo. The image of a black man playing the banjo appears throughout American art of the late 19th century. I want to read a little bit about the banjo lesson because it's important to know what the meaning is behind it, and talk about a little bit about race and how he's depicting African American people in it. Okay, so we know Appalachia is a geographic region located in the Appalachian Mountains in the east of North America, and it's, it's very much out in the wilds. Okay, banjo lesson. Let's click in real quick. It's an 1893 oil painting by African-American artist Henry Ossawa Tanner. It depicts two African-Americans in a humble domestic setting. An old black man is teaching a young boy, possibly his grandson, to play the banjo. The painting was Tanner's first accepted entry into the Paris Salon and has been held by Hampton University since 1894. Where's that? Okay, it's in Hampton, Virginia. It's a private, historically black research university. Okay. Nice. Okay. It is possibly the first painting by an African American to depict other African Americans in a realistic, quote-unquote, genre style of painting, in which scenes or events from everyday life are chosen for contemplation, including ordinary people engaged in common activities. The painting has elements of American realism and of French Impressionism. The painting refuted widely held stereotypes held by white people in the United States in the 1890s by presenting African Americans outside of those stereotypes. There was no caricature, no expectation that the subjects were trying to entertain, no hint that the people in the painting were dangerous or fawning or lacking intelligence. This was radical for the era. So this was a really important painting in terms of, socio-politically and culturally for race understanding, relations, like people, human relations, and it was a very important painting. Okay, let's go. Life in Paris. Wait, did we finish this one? The painting shows an elderly black man teaching a boy, assumed to be his grandson, how to play the banjo. The image of a black man playing the banjo appears throughout American art of the late 19th century. Okay. Life in Paris. Because he moved to Paris and he didn't come back. So that's another thing. I feel like racism had a huge amount to do with that. I mean, of course, he loved Paris. But this country was so racist. Like, I feel so horrible. It's for him and for all African Americans, it was horrible. Horrible. Anyway, okay. We all know this. I'm just venting. Okay. Life in Paris. And just like, I don't know. I'm just... It's just wild. It's just wild. Not a good kind of wild. Okay. Life in Paris. Except for occasional brief returns home, Tanner spent the rest of his life in Paris. He acclimated quickly to Parisian life and became friends with Atherton Curtis. He was part of a community of artists in Mount Kisco, New York for 6 months in 1902 at the behest of Curtis and returned the following winter. I gotta absorb this for one quick second. I just, sometimes when I read, I can't absorb at the same time because I'm concentrating on reading. Except for the occasional brief returns home. Okay. He acclimated quickly to Parisian life. Became friends with Atherton Curtis. Oh, who is he? He's an American art collector and a writer from Brooklyn, New York City, who settled permanently in Paris, France in 1903. He was also an author of Introduction, art historian and publisher who donated numerous archaeological items to the Louvre and other museums. Okay, so he was like a gifty, like I'm giving you... I'm collecting art and I'm bequeathing it to like this and that. Museums and stuff. So he was part of a community in Mount Kisco, New York for 6 months in 1902 at the behest of Curtis and returned the following winter. Okay, so he went to Mount Kisco, New York for 6 months. And maybe what did he do there? We don't know. In Paris, Tanner continued his study. Maybe it wasn't that important what he did there. Maybe he was in a painting colony or something there. I'm wondering. Well, obviously, he was part of a community of... That is what I just read. Duh, me. He was a part of a community of artists in Mount Kisco, New York for 6 months in 1902 at the behest of Curtis and returned the following winter. Okay, so Curtis set him up. He's like, hey, go to this artist colony. They'll accept you. I put in a good word for you. Go paint, and I'll see you when you get back. In Paris, Tanner continued his studies under renowned artists such as John Joseph Benjamin Constant and Jean-Paul Lorenz. With their guidance, he began to establish a reputation in France. He settled at the Etaples Art Colony in Normandy. Okay, let's read a little bit about the Etaples Art Colony. It was a fin de siècle artist retreat. Fin de siècle means turn of the century. Situated near the fishing port of Etaples in northern France. The colony experienced its heyday between 1880 and 1914 before the outbreak of World War I led to its disruption. Okay. Wait a sec. I gotta click through it real quick. I gotta just find out, although cosmopolitan in composition, the majority of inhabitants were Anglophile artists from North America, Australasia, and the British Isles. While some artists settled permanently, others remained at the colony for a sole reason, or even a shorter time, as it was common for Bohemian painters of the period to lead a peripatetic existence, which means they're like traveling between the various art colonies situated along the coasts of Normandy and Brittany. Stylistically, the Etaples artists represent a diverse range of schools with certain common interests, including a preoccupation with the landscape of the region, the proper use of natural light, oh, this is right up his alley, as well as a shared interest in the lives of common folk, fishermen, and peasants of the region. While most painters left the town of 1914 at the outbreak of World War I, artistic activities continued at Etaples during the conflict, pursued by artists in uniform and war artists. I love that. That's great. They kept it open. Excellent. Following a treaty, I mean, as much as they could. It sounds like they didn't leave it open for forever, but... Following the Treaty of Versailles, which ended the war, some artists returned to their studios, and the persistence of a small colony continued to attract visitors to the area, although little outstanding work now resulted. That is cool. I want to read more about the Etaples Art Colony. I love that. I love to read about stuff like that. Okay, cool. Let's see. Where did we end up? Where did we leave off here? Okay. We were in here. I'm just catching my place here. He settled at the Etaples Art Colony in Normandy. There he was introduced to many artists. We did that. We did this. These artists had painted scenes of ordinary people in their environment, and the influence in Tanner's work is noticeable. That of Courbet's The Stonebreakers, 1850, destroyed, can be seen in the similarities in Tanner's The Young Sabbath Maker, 1895. Where's The Young Sabbath? Do we have it? No. The Young Sabbath Maker. Oh, unfortunately, we can't click through to that. Both paintings explore the themes of apprenticeship and manual labor. Okay. Earlier, Tanner... Okay, here's just an interjection. One thing I've kind of noticed is if a painting has a click-through, then they have it on Wikimedia Commons. If a painting doesn't have a click-through, then they don't have it on Wikimedia Commons, so I probably don't have it, because I grab, for the slideshow, I'm grabbing, it's mostly pictures from Wikimedia Commons, so that's that. Okay. Earlier, Tanner had painted marine scenes of man's struggle with the sea. Oh, sorry that my screen is like cut off. Sorry about that. I didn't even realize that. Oh, there's so many things to have my eyeballs on. Life in Paris. Oh wait, we already did that. We're getting there. Hold on. I just got, okay, here we are. Let me scroll up. Okay. Earlier, Tanner, okay. Both paintings explored the themes of apprenticeship and manual labor. That's where we left off. Earlier, Tanner had painted marine scenes of man's struggle with the sea, but by 1895, he was creating mostly religious works. His shift to painting biblical scenes occurred as he was undergoing a spiritual struggle. In a letter he wrote to his parents on Christmas 1896, he stated, "I have made up my mind to serve him, God, more faithfully." A transitional work from this period is the recently rediscovered painting of a fishing boat tossed on the waves, which is held by the Smithsonian Art Museum. I was going to put that painting in the slideshow. I actually think I have it in I'll show it to you if I have it. It's in black and white, I think. So I was like, I don't know if that is like gonna show up real good, you know? Hold on though. If I find it in my files here, I will put it on the screen. Looking. Oh, I don't have it. Okay, I have it. It's probably like on my phone or something. Or on the desktop, maybe? Is it on the desktop? Okay, no. Sorry, guys. Sorry, but you can find it. It's out there. It's in black and white, though, and I don't think the painting was in black and white. So the reason I didn't put it in the slideshow is because I was like, you know, you can't really see it how it was meant to be seen. So that's why I didn't. Okay, back to business here. Tanner's painting, Daniel in the Lion's Den, was accepted into the 1896 Salon, Paris Salon, that is. And that was the same one that Annie Walker showed at as well when she showed her Parisian Lady. Later that year, he painted the Resurrection. And just to interject, I did her a week ago. And she is available in the replay. So you can go and check that one out if you would like. Later that year, he painted The Resurrection of Lazarus, 1896, Musée d'Orsay, Paris, that was purchased by the French government after winning third place medal in the 1897 Salon. See, isn't that cool? You could have your stuff shown at Paris Salon, and it's for sale, and then the French government purchased it, which is a huge coup. Upon seeing The Resurrection of Lazarus, Rodman Wanamaker, an art critic and a major patron of contemporary religious art. He was an American businessman and heir to the Wanamaker's department store fortune. In addition to okay, we don't need to know that, but he was a big business guy. Rodman Wanamaker, an art critic and major patron of contemporary religious art, offered to pay all the expenses for Tanner to visit the Middle East. Oh my gosh. Wanamaker felt that any serious painter of biblical scenes needed to see the environment firsthand, and that a painter of Tanner's caliber was well worth the investment. Tanner accepted Wanamaker's offer for 4 months in 1897, and again for 6 months in 1898 and 1899. Wow. He trekked a popular tourist route through Palestine and North Africa, pitching his tent in the arid region. Wow. Oh my gosh. I didn't know he was like camping. Like actually pitching a tent. It's wild. I mean, I don't know if they mean that like, you know, metaphorically. I feel like because it's Wikipedia, they mean it literally, which is one of the things I like about Wikipedia, by the way. I like literal, please. Okay, so yeah, he went to the Middle East twice in 2 years and painted, and a lot of his paintings are of Middle East places and things. Tanner did not Tanner did not exhibit at the Salon in 1907 due to eye strain. Okay, so that gives us some information about what part of his physical issues were. But in 1908 entered The Wise and Foolish Virgins, which he worked on in 1906. And there's no click-through for The Wise and Foolish Virgins. That was a painting, right? So in 1908, he entered The Wise and Foolish Virgins into the Salon, which he worked on in 1906, in 1907, and finished in 1908. Newspapers don't record a Salon entry for 1909, but he focused on his 1908 energy on a one-man exhibition of his artwork in New York, and the 1909 papers continued to talk about that event. Okay. Tanner may have avoided displaying at the Salon 1910, 1911, 1912, and 1913. Okay, that's something that deserves a little bit more detail on, because I want to know why, but maybe they won't tell us why on Wikipedia. In 1914, Tanner's mother died. World War I started, and he returned to the Paris Salon after several years of absence, bringing his 1912 painting, Christ in the House of Lazarus, and Mary. Mary's a second painting. Here's Mary. Oh, they're not going to click through? Wait. Okay, here's Christ in the House of Lazarus. This is a preview? Wait, is this a whole painting? I don't know if this is the whole painting, and obviously it's like a newspaper clipping of it. But that's Christ in the House of Lazarus, and let's back up and let's look at Mary. And this is Mary. Okay, real dark. Just to interject about some of the painting JPEGs looking discolored or dark or whatever. I did watch, I have a link in the description to a lecture on Henry and his life and work, and by a museum lady. And apparently his paintings are very, very hard to clean. So, and somebody at her museum spent like a year cleaning one of his paintings. I think she said it was like a year. So I think, I'm just like spitballing, but I think that his paintings are so hard to clean that a lot of what you're seeing, like when you Google and whatnot, is going to be dirty. Because I did see a lot of his paintings, they kind of look dirty in the scans. Like some of the Middle Eastern section of paintings I saw, like they look like they could use a cleaning. And I think it might be because people they tread on, you know, they're careful to not clean them, or, you know, they have to be careful, and they're a pain to clean. So something about the way he mixed his paints, like, or something, because I heard that he used a combination of tempera and oil, which I have not used tempura, but it's like an egg. You mix, it's like a paint with egg in it, and then oil paint is oil paint. So yeah, it's probably pretty tricky to clean, I would imagine. Okay, back up. Let's see here. Okay, We're getting there. Hold on. Okay. Tanner did not exhibit at the Paris Salon in 1907 due to eye strain, but in 1908 he entered. Okay, we already read all this. And then he may have avoided displaying in the early 1910, 11, 12, and 13. Okay, and now we're in 1914, and his mother died. World War I started, and he returned to the Paris Salon after several years of absence, bringing the Christ in the House of Lazarus and Mary. He had remarked in 1910 that he would not exhibit in the Salon again as they had stuck his picture into a corner, which everyone knows is almost an insult. That's why he didn't. That's why he didn't. Okay, we know now. So thank you, Wikipedia. Thank you for explaining that to me. Sometimes you surprise me. Sometimes I'll read something and I will out loud say, okay, I want more information. And then in the next paragraph, I get the information that I want. So thank you very much. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to try and be patient. Okay. I'm going to read that one more time for good measure. He had remarked in 1910 that, quote unquote, he would not exhibit in the Salon again as they had stuck his picture into a corner, which everyone knows is almost an insult. And let's look at the footnote on that. Artists allege discrimination out of revenge. The Montreal Star, Montreal, Quebec, Canada, July 2, 1910, page 3. I'm clicking into that. I want to see that. Here we go. Artists allege discrimination out of revenge. Americans whose pictures were badly hung declare Aldrich tariff law is responsible. Special to the Montreal Star. Paris, France, July 2. Now it is the American artists in Paris who are suffering on account of Aldrich tariff law. The charge is that they were discriminated against in the annual Salon. The French artists fully expected the removal of the duty on foreign modern paintings and the opening of the rich American market. When they were disappointed, they were convinced that the 20% duty imposed was purely for the protection of their American rivals. Henry Ossawa Tanner, the noted Negro painter, black painter, confided to me recently, said, a Chicago artist, that he would not exhibit in the Salon again as they had stuck his picture into a corner, which everyone knows is almost an insult. I love that he said that. I love that he just said it. You stuck my painting in a corner, which everyone knows is almost an insult. What the French artists do not like is their inability to go to America and exhibit 50 or 60 pictures, sell some, and bring back the others. The tariff prevents this. England, on the other hand, has a free trade, and English artists in the Salon carried off the highest honors this year. The feeling of the French is shown in a recent article by Arsene Alexander, the noted critic. Each year lately has seen a greater number of successful foreign pictures. He says, do you know the number of painters from London, San Francisco, and New Jersey who are lodged in the ateliers of the Montparnasse Quarter this year, studying both French art and the French market, so as to surpass the one and possess the other? 158 are represented in the Salon by more than 300 works. French artists must not combat them by means of ostracism, jury maneuvers, and trickery, but by better and more original paintings. All right. We now know. Okay. We know. We know what happened. Thanks, Wikipedia. Coming through for me today. All right. So French artists were upset over and of course, Wikipedia will tell us in a simple sentence here, French artists were upset over a U.S. tariff on their paintings and said to be taking revenge in the Salon. Yep. Later years, during World War I, Tanner worked for the Red Cross Public Information Department, during which time he also painted images from the front lines of the war. His works featuring African American troops were rare during the war. In 1923, the French state made him a Knight of the Legion of Honor for his work as an artist. That's awesome. And I'm sure it cleared up any issues between them. Tanner met with fellow African-American artist Palmer Hayden in Paris circa 1927. Palmer Hayden was an American painter who depicted African-American life, landscapes, seascapes, and African influences. He sketched, painted in both oils and watercolors, and was a prolific artist of his era. They discussed artistic technique, and he gave Haydn advice on interacting with French society. Nice! What a good guy. Yeah. So this is what you do. This is the etiquette, and don't take this one. Don't take it personally if they're like this, that's just their this, that. He was also an inspiration to other artists studying in France, including Hale Woodruff, Romar Bearden, and other artists associated with Black abstractionism. Several of Tanner's paintings were purchased by Atlanta art collector J.J. Haverty. Here's J.J. Haverty, okay. Founder of the Haverty Furniture Company. Who founded Haverty Furniture Company. Why don't I just not roll over and just keep reading? And then I'll get to the information eventually. And was instrumental in establishing the High Museum of Art. Tanner's Etaples Fischer Folk is among several paintings from the Haverty collection, now in the High Museum's permanent collection. I'm going to roll over High Museum of Art. I want to see. The High Museum of Art is the largest museum for visual art in the southeastern United States. Located in Atlanta, Georgia. The High is 312,000 square feet and a division of the Woodruff Arts Center. Okay. Excuse me. Just wants to say hi. Hi. Okay. All right. Let's see. Tanner died peacefully at his home in Paris, France, on May 25th, 1937. He is buried at Sceaux Cemetery in Sceaux, Haute-Seine, a suburb of Paris. Let's talk about his marriage. We're almost done. In 1899, he married Jessie Olsen, a Swedish-American opera singer. A contemporary Virginia Walker course described their let me say that again. A contemporary Virginia Walker course described their relationship as one of equal talents, but racist attitudes insisted the relationship was unequal. Of course they did. And then here's a little blurb. Fan, did you ever hear of a Miss Olsen of Portland? She has a beautiful voice, I believe, and came to Paris to cultivate it, and she has married I don't even want to say. He is an awfully talented man, but he's black. She seems like a well-educated girl and really very nice, but it makes me sick to see a cultivated woman marry a man like that. I don't know his work, but he is very talented, they say. Okay. I wish I didn't even voice that. I should have just said read that if you want. Jessie Tanner died in 1925, 12 years before her husband, and he grieved her deeply through the 1920s. He sold the family home in Les Charmes, where they had been so happy together. They are buried next to each other in Sceaux, Haute-Seine. They had a son, Jesse, who survived Tanner at his death. Friends and colleagues. Okay. We don't need to read all the friends and colleagues, but you can go look into those if you would like. They're right there. They're on Wikipedia. Legacy. Tanner's work was influential during his career. He has been called the greatest African-American painter to date. I think he was the first internationally known and heralded artist, black African-American artist during his lifetime. The early paintings of William Edward Scott, who studied with Tanner in France, show the influence of Tanner's technique. William Edward Scott was an African-American artist before Alan Locke asked African-Americans to create and portray the new Negro that would thrust them into the future. And that new Negro is in slanty word, so it's like a title. If you know what I'm saying. I'm sorry, slanty words. It's in slanty words. Italics. They call it italics. We call it italics. Artists like William Edward Scott were depicting blacks in new ways to break away from the subjugating images of the past. Scott, well known for his portraits, Haitian scenes, and murals, challenged the standard depiction of blacks in art in the first half of the 20th century by utilizing black subject matter in an uplifting way. However, just as his style remained traditional as opposed to abstract, he was relatively conservative in his portrayals of blackness. Okay. Good to know about him, too. All right. So William Edward Scott studied with Tanner in France, shows the influence of Tanner's technique. In addition, some of Norman Rockwell's illustrations deal with the same themes and compositions that Tanner pursued. Rockwell's proposed cover of the Literary Digest in 1922, for example, shows an older black man playing the banjo for his grandson. Okay, that's influence. The light sources are nearly identical to those in Tanner's banjo lesson. A fireplace illuminates the right side of the picture while natural light enters from the left. Both use similar objects as well, such as the clothing, chair, crumpled hat on the floor. Some other major artists Tanner mentored include William A. Harper, a Canadian-born artist best known for his landscape paintings and is represented in both the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City and the National Museum of African American History in Washington, D.C., and Hale Woodruff. Hale Aspacio Woodruff was an American artist known for his murals, paintings, and prints. All right. Tanner's Sand Dunes at Sunset, Atlantic City, 1885, oil on canvas, hangs in the green room at the White House. It is the first painting by an African-American artist to have been purchased for the permanent collection of the White House. The painting is a landscape with a view across the cool gray of a shadowed beach to the dunes made pink by late afternoon sunlight. A low haze over the water partially hides the sun. It was bought for $100,000 by the White House Endowment Fund during the Bill Clinton administration from Dr. Ray Alexander Minter, grandniece of the artist. His correspondence with Curtis between 1904 and 1937 is held at the Smithsonian Institution. Tanner's work was included in the 2015 exhibition We Speak, Black Artists in Philadelphia, 1920s to 1970s at the Woodmere Art Museum. Okay, and here are all of his awards. He was awarded a lot. He got, let's look through. Paris exhibition, okay. 1895 Atlanta, 1896 Salon, honorable mention. 1897 Salon, 1899 Philadelphia Academy of Fine Arts, Walter Lippincott Prize. 1900 silver medal in the Paris exposition. 1901 silver medal Buffalo Exposition. 1904 silver medal St. Louis Exposition. He got around. He really did submit his art everywhere. That's good. Or a lot, I should say. I'm surprised though. I mean, he did flip. He did like do a lot of travel, but he was very much in. He was in France, so I find that interesting. But I'm just thinking out loud. Okay. I think I got something on my glasses. Let's see here. Oh, that just made it worse. Okay, hold on. Okay, we're going to draw soon. I'm excited. I want to do his portrait. Okay. He did awards up to 1930 Grand Central Art Gallery Walter L. Clark Prize in New York City for E. Taples Fisher Folk. Okay, exhibitions. In his life, he had 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, a lot. 8 in this life. They were probably pretty big ones. And then a huge list of selected works. Oh, that's beautiful. Let's look at this portrait of Tanner by V. Floyd Campbell. I love that. Ooh, that is just so cool. I love the duotone. Isn't that nice? I think he's dashing. I really think he's dashing. He's a dashing man. Okay. Other works. Oh, I haven't seen these. Let's go through. This is Pomp at the Zoo, circa 1880. Look at the light. Look at the light again. And this is like chiaroscuro. If you look, hold on. I'll show you what chiaroscuro is. I remember from art history, okay? We know what this is. It's an art technique using strong contrast between light and dark to create a sense of volume, three-dimensionality, and drama. It was popularized during the Renaissance and is used in painting, sculpture, photography, and film. Okay? So this is chiaroscuro. See? That's putting a face to the name. Face to the name. When you see stuff like this, this is chiaroscuro. And there are certain artists that really popularized it and then it just became a thing. And this is chiaroscuro. Beautiful. This is Pomp at the Philadelphia Zoo, circa 1880 to 1886. What a beautiful lion. Lions figure in his work prominently. It's a theme that he comes back to all the time. Or often. So, I don't know if all the time. Yeah. I'm just exaggerating. I don't know why. Sister Sarah, 1882. Beautiful portrait. Beautiful portrait. Woman from the West Indies, 1891. Brittany, France. This is a beautiful painting. The Bagpipes Lesson, 1893. The Young Sabbath Maker, 1895. What is a Sabbath? Oh, he's making shoes. Okay. That's beautiful. 1895, Marshes in New Jersey. Possibly the Pastel of New Jersey Coast by Moonlight. Oh, that's pretty. Exhibited at 1895 Salon with a Young Sabbath. Okay, cool. Love that. Ooh, The Annunciation to the Shepherds, 1895. Beautiful. Little angel. Angel. Wait a minute. We gotta go back. Okay. When I zoom in, I lose my little arrows, so I can't do that. Okay, this was The Resurrection of Lazarus. So this won a medal in 1897 Paris Salon, and this is the one that was bought by the French government. If you enjoy his work, I encourage you to look at these yourself on Wikimedia Commons because you're going to get a much more detailed on some of them. Because on there you can get some high res, and it's just not going to show up on my screen like that. Like sometimes it's just going to look like mud. View of the Scene, looking towards Notre Dame, 1896. This is Jesus and Nicodemus, 1899, displayed at the Paris Salon and Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts, where it won a Walter Lippincott Prize. This is Salome, circa 1900. The body of John the Baptist lies at her feet. Okay. Abraham's Oak, 1905. Biblical subject, also called the Oak of Mamre. I love that tree. I love the light in this one. I know it's dark and very grayish looking. It's beautiful though. The light is just, he captures that light. And here's the Savior, 1900 to 1905. And this is Christ in the Home of Mary and Martha, 1905. Beautiful. Beautiful. He really is very much into the light dark thing. The disciples see Christ walking on water, circa 1907. Let's see. He's walking on water. See? Wait. Is it here or is it here? No, this guy's on the boat. This little man is on the boat here, and this is Christ walking on water. Oh, that's actually quite abstracty. Angels appearing before the shepherds. Okay, shepherds are down here. And hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Okay. So down here we have the shepherds. I love this space because the angels are huge and the little peoples are little tiny people down there. Okay. Which one is this? Christ walking on the water, engraving, possibly a show catalog. The Three Marys at Jesus's tomb. And this is a view of Fez, 1912. This must have been on one of his trips to the Middle East. Fisherman at Sea, circa 1913. Mary, 1914. Coastal Landscape, France, 1919. This is the Daniel in the Lion's Den, 1918. The original, now lost, was painted in 1895 and displayed at the 1896 Salon. So this is a really dark picture of it, and I think there's better copies of it. Not copies. There's better pictures of it. 1936, Tanner's final painting. Return from the Crucifixion. Mary and Joseph are in the front. This is Sand Dunes at the Sunset, Atlantic City, circa 1885. The White House. Destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, 1929 to 30. High Museum of Art. And there is his lovely photo. Oh, great photo, great painting. Spinning by Firelight, 1894. The Annunciation, 1898. The Philadelphia Museum of Art has this one. And this is The Banjo Lesson, 1893. And this is Atherton Curtis with his wife by Tanner. Sodom and Gomorrah, 1920. The Arch, 1919. That was, we mentioned that earlier, and I don't remember in what context, but. And this is his family, the Tanner family at home in France. Handwritten note on verso, which is on the opposite side, I believe, identifies the individual seated at the table as Jesse Tanner is on the left. That's his son. Mrs. Tanner, his wife, is right next to his son on the left. Myron G. Barlow, I believe that's the seated guy. And then Henry Ossawa Tanner. I'm going to click on Myron G. Barlow because I think the lady standing is not, they didn't put her name in here. This is Myron G. Barlow. So that's this guy right here. All right, let's draw, shall we? Let's draw. Oh my God, I've been off this whole time. I gotta stop doing that. I have this cute little palette. This is, here's what I was saying before. I have this cute little Van Gogh palette. Okay? Cute little Van Gogh palette. I really brought it over just to paint on top of it. I just brought it over so I have some place to put my ink, because I'm just doing like an ink wash. Right? But, and I was saying that I'm not aesthetic, and I thought it was funny, because I'm really not. But I'm really not aesthetic, like, you know, Instagram-y type aesthetic. But this is what we're doing. So, and then I was saying, okay, now I'm just repeating everything I was saying before. I was saying that I probably should have grabbed some watercolor paper, but I didn't, and that's okay. Because this paper is like the furthest thing from watercolor paper. However, it has been like surprisingly not terrible. It has been surprisingly not super disappointing me, you know? And I just want to keep going with it, really. I just kind of want to keep, tell you what, I kind of like the idea of flipping through this book and seeing all of my stuff. I just like all of my like Inktovers. Or not Inktovers. What am I talking about? It's not the we're past Inktober now. I like the idea. Okay. I just realized. Do I care how I was gonna rate his? I wanted to do the quote around his head. So that means his head is gonna have to start lower. This ink is kind of weird. Like it has this strange like effect, like it changes kind of. Let's make his head start here. Let's make his head start here. And then we have hair. And then wait, so his head is like, this is the part of the program where I'm talking to myself. Okay, that's fine. We're all used to that, right? We're all used to that by now. I'm also usually not drawing with a brush. I'm usually drawing with a pen. That's okay too. Okay, you will see, maybe you will notice when I'm doing this with this ink, unless you're working on your own picture, in which case, please don't look up. Look at your own and that's fine. Because this is, I'm just talking. I'm just talking and it's, you know, not really important. But I have this ink that is kind of like, it kind of has this weird, like changing. It sort of changes a little bit. The color of it, it's weird. It's got a weird color to it. I just love his tie. Tie here, collar here, shoulder. You have a shoulder here. And then collar. This is definitely I'm going to stand up. I'm going to stand up. So I have my computer is on this workbench that I have. And it's over there. And it's like a standing. I mean, that's not true. It could be standing. Okay. Like if I want it to be, but I have a chair that I sit in, but the desk could be like a standing workspace. And I used to use it for that, but my point, all I'm trying to get to say, my point in even talking about my desk is I would move that desk here to this part of the room and use it as my art desk. Except I have one of those monitor arm holder things that is implanted in it. So I now have like a permanent hole in it and a permanent computer arm, like monitor holding arm thing. in it, so it's now really just good for my computer. I committed, is what I'm saying. I made a commitment. I made a commitment to my Wacom tablet, my Cintiq, which is like I have a screen that, it's a screen that you can draw on, basically. It's like a Cintiq, which is, it's like an iPad, but it's a computer monitor. That's probably the best way to describe it. Anyway, I have a great workbench that I can't use, and all of this just to say that here I stand-ish. Here I do like the lean over so I can draw our picture here. Of Henry, and it would have been nice to be able to use that desk here on this side of the room, and if I did that, then I wouldn't be bending over right now. That's all I'm trying to say. That is the point that I'm trying to make here. Excuse me. Excuse me. Wiping my nose. I think my nose is just in this like constant state of drip now. It's that time of year. Is this TMI? Probably. Probably TMI. Thanks for the hearts. Thanks for hearting. I love the hearts. I appreciate the hearts. Please like and subscribe. Please check me out every day. Every day we got a new artist. Every day we're doing another cold-ish Wikipedia read with commentary. We're learning about artists from the past. We're learning about things that we probably don't ever want to repeat again in our world. And we're learning from our elders, people before us, like Henry, and all that they experienced in life and went through and overcame and lived. We did not even like scratch the surface. Okay, we scratched the surface, but this guy, like, there's some links that I found. All right, I think I might like sit myself back down again for a second. Okay, this guy, you guys, this guy, there's so much more. There's so much more to talk about with Henry. And there's some links. I found a couple of good stories, not stories. I found a couple of good essays. Megan. I found a couple good essays online for you to read. There's a Henry Tanner House. It's a nonprofit. They could use our help. They have an Instagram page. They have a website. I linked it in I linked it in the... Can I talk? I can't talk while I'm drawing. I'm so sorry. I'm going to draw for a little bit because this is kind of important, right? Where does face? I don't want to... I think I need to just focus on the art for a minute, okay? And then once I get things going here... The Tanner Blues! I learned about them too! Just now. I think I noticed them when I was looking at his art. Like, I noticed them, but I didn't know it was like a thing or anything until I just read that. And I was like, oh, wow, cool. Hey, learning together. I love learning together. I feel like I need I'm sorry. I feel like I need... Do I, though? Do I need a pen? No, I don't need a pen. I can draw with my brush. I can draw with my brush. Chin, lip. I think... Wait, chin. What's going on here? Awesome mustache. Awesome nose. Awesome cheek. Awesome glasses. Awesome eyes, right? Look at his eyes. Eyes, nose, corner, eyebrow. He has an interesting life mark, like a scar-ish, on his forehead that is part of his face. I'm gonna do that. I love his hair. I love his hairstyle. This guy he's just like... He just looks regal to me. He's got an aura about him. Like, this guy has just such an aura. Let's do something wild and just use the end of our brush to draw with. See if that works. Is it gonna work? No. Let me see what I can dig up here. You know, I have like pen nibs and all this. I got pen nibs, I got sticks. You can draw with anything. You really can. If it pulls the ink for you, you can draw with it. I'm just trying to, excuse me, find something. I'm gonna move my mic a little bit away from my mouth just so I don't like assault you. Let's try drawing with this. Let's draw with it. Can it be done? I think it can. Or I could use a pencil. I could use a pencil too. But, you know, I like to draw with things that are, you know, unconventional things. Let's see if this works. And then I could just wish I didn't do it. I could wish I didn't do this, sure. That could very well happen. But, you know, we don't know until we try, right? Where's your eye, Henry? Where's your eye? Henry, where's your eye? I love his eyes. They're so expressive. pencil? Let me get a pencil. Hold on. Let me get a pencil. We'll see. I'll show you what I'm going to get. What do we got here? We have Derwent Inktense pencils. Let's see what we got here. Here we go. Let's grab the colored pencil stash here. Let's see what we got. We got the Graphitints. We can give that a shot. Or I have a bunch of, these are Inktense. Derwent Color Soft. Okay. I also have Inktense here. So I have a brown Inktense. That's a red one. Okay. Let's see here. What do we got? That one's Bark. Okay. We can do a Bark Inktense. We can do Brown Earth Color Soft. I'm not sure what the properties of the Color Soft are. They might just be like your regular colored pencil. I'm not sure. And then we have the Derwent Graphitints, which are excuse me. These are sorry. These are I can get my bearings. These are graphite that are water soluble graphite. This might be the best bet because I love the idea of like, hey, bringing in the Inktense, but the Inktense are a little intense because they do not have properties of, I believe they dye. They're not pigment, I don't think. I don't know for sure, okay? I think I've looked at it, and I believe I have looked, because I did a bunch of reviews of Inktense, not Inktense. I did a bunch of, yes, I'm sorry. I did some Inktense reviews on my channel, and I used them on wood and watercolor and stuff like style. But anyway, my point is what I'm trying to say is that I don't actually know if I don't actually remember if they're actual pigment or if they are ink. Pigment and ink are different things. Pigment, ink. What can I say? Ink can be pigmented, but ink is not always necessarily pigmented. There's different types of ink. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know if I said it well enough, but do I like this color pencil? I don't know. Do I need a redder pencil? Do I need this one? This is chestnut. This one is cocoa. Let's take cocoa, chestnut, and port. And let's go on to our test page, because what I want to do is I want to get a sense for what these are doing. I need to get a sense of this color, and I want to stick my finger in some water. Okay, so we get that. That is cool brown. Nice. Good. This is, maybe this is the one we want. This is cocoa. Let's do the finger. Okay, so that might be, yeah, that is probably that's pretty close to what we got. This is chestnut, and do some water. That is red. And that is actually very similar. So it's kind of a combination of the brown ink that I have is a combination of Cocoa and chestnut. I think I like the cocoa a little more because the red is not like my favorite element. That's really pretty, actually. This is port. And it's very, very pretty, but it's not the color. But you know what's cool? Oh, crap. Hold on. Hold on. You gotta clean this up a little bit here. Right. But what's cool is, see that ink? Do you see how that does that? Look at that. That's right, my water spilled off. See, it's sort of like took itself out of the running there. Sort of. I'm gonna zoom you out a little bit. Let's get so you can see it better. There we are. There we go. Okay. All right, let's go in. So we got our pencils here. We've got, I actually really do, I'm moving some things around here. Let us move some things around. We have our pencil sharpener. I'm gonna sharpen cocoa. I don't think I even need to sharpen my cocoa. Let's just use it as is here. And I just want to get, I want to get moving on this because I want to start to make some headway here. I'm going to have to stand again. I need to stand. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry, guys. Make sure that my camera's working. Okay, good. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry I've been off screen. I didn't mean that. Did not mean that. Yeah, okay. Let's just keep drawing. I've just been standing on my head over here and doing all kinds of things. Just trying to capture him. Just trying to capture Henry. I don't even know how did I not how did I not see this? How did I not see this? Okay. Your nose is so important to me right now. Henry. Your nose is like, you want to get your nose. You have such a lovely nose. I have to zoom in. Ooh, what happened over there? What happened over there? What's happening? Henry, I really want to capture you. Henry, it's important to me. I want to do you justice. Does anybody else talk to their artwork when they're doing it? Okay, I really like this pencil. However, it's sort of like I need an edge that I'm not getting from it at the moment, so I need to like I need some white too, because, or a lighter value, because let me see what I have. Let me see what I have. We have peach, Derwent Color Soft. Is this going to be, I don't know if that's going to be light enough. What about this one? This is an ochre. That's definitely not going to be light enough. I need something opaque. I need something opaque. I don't want something too light or too neutral light. It has to be able to, it's all about how it acts on this color. You know, because the color, it doesn't matter. If you're using it on top of something else, you need to make sure that it does what you want it to do on top of that other thing. You know? It's just not gonna. Derwent Ink Tints. Yeah, that's not gonna do it. Ink tints are not super opaque anymore. I'm definitely not grabbing Paint Pen. What's this? This is a pale peach. No. Okay. So, what's this? Blick? Blick to the rescue? Blick to the rescue? No. This is better. Better. Alright. Hold up. Maybe colored pencil is not the thing. This, I don't know, what, Prismacolor? Alright, that's better than anything else. Maybe I'll grab a, are we gonna do like, oh, that's a Progresso. No, I think we might have to grab our old standby. I think we might be looking at a Neocolor 2 save at some point, but the problem with that, oh, I did it again. The problem with that is that it Neocolor is the problem with Neocolor. What am I trying to say? Can I spit it out? The problem is that I don't think it's really going to play nicely with my colored pencils here. So let's just move on. And I'm going to try and like ignore. You know what? Actually, let me just lift it. Let me just lift the ink where I want to lift the ink, because it's lifting everywhere else. So like, why? I'll lift it where I want to lift it. I want to lift it off of his face in certain spots. So I'm going to do that. We're going to do a lift, a little water lifting here. Water lift. Maybe let it sit for a second. And then see what we can do with that. Okay, the other little wrinkle is that these pencils I'm using are water soluble, so. And then the third wrinkle is that third little wrinkle is that it is the pencil's water soluble, the ink is coming off the page, and what was my third point? I forget. Oh, the third thing. I remember what the third thing was now. The third thing was that I don't want to work on a wet page. That's number 3. That is number 3. No working on a wet page. So, oh, let me grab my, this one is the cool brown. Let's go into the cool brown for a moment because we have some cool brown stuff. No, maybe not. Wrong universe, wrong universe. Let's do, that's no. We have chestnut. See if we like chestnut. For this, I don't think so though. I think I need to do the combo. I really want to draw his eyelashes, but I do need a, I think I'm gonna bring in my Neocolor after everything. I'm just gonna try and work without until we get there. And yeah, it's not ideal, I don't think, you know, for what I want, but you know, you can't always get everything you want all the time, so that's fine. And I just looked at this and I see I don't have this right. I think this glass is bigger. I think I'm getting too precious about this. And I think I just need to move on here. And later, when we do our Neocolor, that's going to be like, you know, when everything comes together at the end? That's what it's going to be. That is what it's going to be. It's going to be like, oh yeah, okay. Everything came together at the end. Bye, Megan. If I didn't catch you, I'm so sorry. I didn't look quickly enough at the chat. So I hope you have a good dental appointment. I hope they don't find any cavities, and I hope that it's easy and you can just hopefully stare up at a nice ceiling and listen to some good tunes or something. That's what I try and do. They always have some good music on. And my dentist. I'm going to do some texture here. Oh, let's do that. We are working on the jacket. Trying to get a little bit of tweed going. And how are we doing? How are we doing? I knew this one was going to be intense for me. I really wanted to do a nice portrait of Henry. I think I might have to skip the... I hate to skip the lettering. My only worry is that will my paper be dry enough for me to do it? Because I'm painting the background, you know? So I just don't... just a little nervous about that, you know? I have to say though, this paper does dry real quick. This is not watercolor paper for anybody new. This is pen and ink paper, and I actually started using this when I did Inktober this year. Not the official Inktober, I did my own Inktober. And I have to, after watching a video about the official Inktober, I have to like preface any conversation about Inktober with the fact that I did not do official Inktober. I made up my own Inktober and I did it on my channel, and we did Gothic women of the 17th and 1700s and 1800s, and it was really cool, and it sort of got me on this trajectory of doing history, of doing artists of history and creatives in history, and then doing homage art. Can I say it? Homage art to them on my lives. So that's what we're getting today. We have Henry Ossawa Tanner, and he, among many things of note, he was the first African American painter of international renown when he was alive. And if you're curious about him, if you'd like to dig a little deeper, click into the description of this video. First hit a like. First hit the like. Then hit the subscribe. First hit the like, then hit the subscribe. But yeah, you can watch from the beginning, and I do a full Wikipedia read. and then we look through some of his art and talk about it a little bit, and then we do this homage piece to him because I decided to do a portrait because I'm really struck by this portrait of him, and I really wanted to do him. It's a beautiful. Oh, I also wanted to do a quote of his, which we may or may not do today because it's getting. Is it 1 o'clock yet? It's 12. Yeah, it's 12. It's 1 o'clock. Yeah. If you're wondering what I'm using to paint with, I'm using this little Van Gogh set, little Van Gogh painter set of mine, and I have been using the base ink is this brown Koh-i-Noor. It's super old, so I'm not like recommending you run out and buy this. Super, 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 super old. Brown rapidograph ink. That's ages old. This paper is pen and ink paper, so yeah, everything's like not right. like don't use this stuff. But I have a fun surprise that I'm gonna do right now. Let's do a splatter. Let's do a little water splatter and see if we can lift it and get some cool little droplets. Shall we? Let us do that. Let's see, let's test it out up here. All right. Yeah, I think so. We're gonna go flat. We're going flat. Oops. Gonna go flat. All right, yeah. So we can pick up some. I'm gonna let this stuff dry because I want the pigment in there. I'm gonna zoom you on the top now, like that. And now we can just sort of like do our come on, dry. If this does not dry, then I'm going to be in trouble. You know, I don't think I'm going to be able to like, I really want to go over this with a Neocolor too. Like, maybe like the light lemon yellow, because that one, it's like the lightest neutral. And I really should have it in my little neutral container here. This is my neutral. And this is my warms. And I think it's in my warm tub. Is this it? That's Sahara yellow, which is good too. But I want to find the light. I mean, we can go in a different direction if we can't find it. Oh, wait. Is it in here? Is it in here? It might be in here. No, that's white. That's white. We don't want that. We don't want that. That's white. We don't want that. Where's our... Okay, but my light lemon yellow has gone rogue and I don't know where it is, so... Maybe I have a little tiny piece in here somewhere. No, I don't. Okay. Alright. It might just not be. It might just not be, it just might not be here, in which case I want more. I want more. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting everything I want from the paints. I'm definitely not getting everything I want from the ink. The brown ink is not. Now I'm just going to test out. Yeah, it's good. Is that a good one? It's a good one. Let's go with this. I want to go in with like a light. I want to go in with a light Neocolor, but I don't want to go in with white. Because I'm afraid white is just going to take us out of the universe. And I want, maybe I'll use this. This is Sahara, but I think it's a little too yellow. Let's leave that here for the moment. Let's put these here for the moment, and let me look back in here and see if I can find it. I'm really gonna look now. No messing around. I'm gonna turn the mic off. Okay, I have some stuff that I might be able to use. This is flesh color, so I think it's gonna work. And I'm gonna use it. So this takes it down. It gives you like, it doesn't give me white, or like it doesn't give me my lightest light, but it gives me lighter than what I have. So I'll leave the lightest lights page white, and we're just gonna try and fill in here where we got what we can do to add some of the values we want to add here. And this is lighter, and then the collar is white, and then we have this brown, which is actually working out very well as a good value for this piece. And Yeah, you can see. Okay, good. Okay, good. Let's work on him a little more. Okay, this I want to define his head. And I want to define his cheek. And then I want to define down here. I was definitely feeling like I had over inked in certain parts, which is fine if you can like pull out your lights later, you know, but I didn't really think that I was gonna do that. You know, I really like this yellow. It's adding like a cool, this yellow is adding a nice extra punch to this. I'm feeling like the tie needs a little work. Let's highlight the tie a little bit. And it's okay to keep it loose down here. That's okay. I'm gonna just keep it loose down here. And that's fine. It's kind of nice, you know? It's kind of nice. And let's do like that. And then do like, we have like a mid value on the coat, sort of like darker, but not super the darkest. It's not the darkest. This is darker, okay. So we can use this maybe for the folds. And then for our coat, collar, and then maybe for like that, just the very inside of the coat. And then maybe the edge of the tie, and right where the tie meets. There we go. All right, now we're going to use this. I got to take my glasses off for this because I want to get his darkest values in his face. Darkest values, eyes. Right at the nostril, and then right in the lip. So let's do that. Hold on. I'm gonna stick my head in here. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Lip. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. And then a tiny bit right there where the glass meets, where the eyeglass meets his face. And then what I'm going to do too is I'm going to wash away a little bit of his nose right here, right here. And then I wish I had a little bit of ability to make a little bit lighter on his lip there. And he's got like, his hair is like blonde-ish, like a very light. His little hair on his chin is really light. Oh my goodness. Challenging. Challenge. I knew you'd be challenging to me, but that's because I care so much. That's because I am fully invested in this portrait. And I want to do right by you, Henry. I want to do right by you, Henry. I want to do right by you, Henry. all these folds happening here. We got fold, fabric folds. Let's see if we can do some chin action with this Neocolor. I really want to pull out some lights. I don't have the proper tool to do it with right now. I do not have the proper tool to do it with. And that kind of stinks, but I could just go in and like pick up some water, liquid water, pick up, I could try. I just don't want to make any errors, you know? Like we're late in the game now and I don't want to get Let me get a fresh paper towel. Oops. I feel like I need to let the water sit. I need to let the water really sit in there. I'm gonna put some, there we go. And now let's see if we can do the quote that we're gonna do. Let's do a little bit here. I like that warm brown. Warm brown. Okay. Are we ready for this? Are we ready, Henry? Oops. Get our picture back here. Okay, Henry. Looking good. Looking good, Henry. Okay. We gotta fix, I think I just did a little bit of, I need to pick up a little bit. I need to pick up a little bit. Here we go. I put my Neocolor. Didn't. There we go. That's better. I had to fix that. I felt like it was not correctly applied. Oh, and see, I did it again. It's because like proprioception with these, I don't like to go around and like splinter them with, I could just cut it with a razor, but I don't want to do that. I just don't want to. Oops, hold on. Hold on. Almost there. Okay. All right, Henry. I think we're looking good. And I think I'm going to put your quote in. I think I'm going to put your quote in, Henry. I'm going to do it. First, I'm going to just give you a little more details here. I need to detail you up. I want to give you... You know what I just noticed? The value of his skin on the shadow side is darker than his facial hair. And I just want to get that. Can I correct this? Does it need correcting? I mean, that, like, how do I want it to, what do I want it to say? How do I want to, like his chin folds. Okay. I decided on the spot that I would be an artist, and I assure you it was no ordinary artist I had in mind. Okay. Let's do this. Do I want to do the quote right now? I feel like I need a break before I put the quote in, you know? Like, I need to go have lunch, and I don't want to just like jump on something and not do it justice. So maybe I'll just not do the quote right now. But here's Henry. And I'm very content with where we are with this. I feel like I could do more, but I think I'm very happy with this. I would like to work on it some more, but I'm gonna hang it up right now because I think if I had more time right now, I would go into it more, and I might go into it more later, and if I do, I'm going to post it on my posts tab so you can see what I did with it. But for now, I'm going to leave it like this, and I hope you had a good day today. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you go and read about Henry Ossawa Tanner. I hope you go and read about Henry and his life and his artwork and his brilliance, his artistic brilliance, and what a good guy he was. So yeah, so tomorrow, who's up for tomorrow? Who is gonna, oh, I keep dropping I keep dropping everything. Okay, who we doing tomorrow? Let's look. Let's see what we got for tomorrow. Tomorrow we are doing... Oh, God. All I gotta do is look at the lives. What are we doing tomorrow? John Tenniel. Oh my gosh, another big one. Oh my gosh. This month is kicking my butt. I got like... We got like legend after legend going on here. Okay. All right. Tomorrow, John Tenniel. Comeback commercial artists of the 19th century. With me, we do a bio read and commentary, and then we do what? And then we do artwork, an homage piece. So I hope you come back for that. Like, subscribe, do all the things, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.